Keller is a great friend of mine. You've been an agent with Keller Williams in North County for?
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years, okay? Played a huge part in what we do and who we are. And I asked her, and it was funny because Mary actually had the same idea kind of simultaneously, but I asked Lisa if she would come and be our speaker for today. She's kind of had an interesting experience, which we're going to go through over the past 12 months. But I really appreciate you doing this, and I think we might as well just kind of get going.
You think?
Sound good to you?
All right.
Okay, all right. So here's the
and I'm
mic.
going to gracefully get up on this stool
Let's see that.
in front of a big crowd of people, just what every girl wants.
Take that one.
Oh, okay.
And
Thank
then if
you.
I just talk loudly, will that work?
Yeah.
Okay, because that other
All right.
mic's kind of a pain.
We could lean, and you could just lean back.
Back?
Okay.
I'll fall off.
Yeah, I know, right? That balance.
Perfect. And just so you know, real quickly, all the little bling that we got out here, Lisa brought that, and Lisa made those. Okay, so she was but real quickly, you know, let's just kind of jump into it. So Lisa, what's been going on the last 12 months or so? Why are we here? What are we doing?
Well, I am a registered dental hygienist for 20 years, and I had an elbow surgery in May of last year. And so I thought, that's great, because I was working 2 full-time jobs. So while I'm recuperating from this surgery, about 6 months, well, you know it's bad when your orthopedic surgeon says, wow, it was a hot mess in there. And I thought, this is great. I can work 2 full-time jobs at one job and just be a realtor. And about 2.5 weeks after my surgery, I thought maybe I had something was going on. My doc says, I think that's a kidney stone. We should probably do a CAT scan. It seems kind of excessive. Can't we try some antibiotics? Maybe I just have a little infection or something, yeah. And I was so uncomfortable that right away I waited 2 or 3 days, and I was on the phone, and actually it was the Tuesday I had lunch with you and Chuck at Artisan. I had gone and had my scan in the morning and still had my elbow in. I was completely immobilized. And after lunch I get a call and, we need to see you this afternoon. Ugh. I can't believe I have a kidney stone on top of this elbow thing. Yeah. And right away, I go to a great internist up in Templeton, and she sent me to a gynecologic oncologist, and they found a 6-inch pelvic mass, and just by accident. So within just a few weeks' time, I had what I refer to as the scoop and lift. So, the full hysterectomy, appendectomy, gift with purchase. She says I always take them out whenever I see them. Can't charge you for it. Great. And, I got a nice bladder hoist out of the deal. So, no more sneeze pee. Yay! Right? Because all the girls are going, nice. And all of the guys are going, wow, I wish my gal could get that. Yeah. Right? I know, my life's an open book. What can I say? But you were all thinking it. And then, it was actually 1 year ago today. I didn't realize it until yesterday. But 1 year ago today, my doc finally got the pathology report. And oncologists, they are very frank. But she was amazing. I mean, instantly, on the phone, I had a report. She said, girl, you're going to be okay. And I'm going to take great care of you. Hello there. And so that day, she called me and she said, well, at first she told me it's probably not cancer, because it was just this big mass. And so, okay, great, not cancer. And then after the surgery, the doc comes out and talks to your family, and she told my husband, Richard, that there was a little spot I just didn't like. That's all she said. And so she says, it was definitely cancer. You need chemo that's not optional. And you'll be bald. Yeah. And so it was just so shocking. And then, the whole chemotherapy and everything. But I just think it's kind of fortuitous that it really was 1 year ago today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Man.
So it's been quite a ride.
Yeah, and we're going to get more on that, you know, as we do this. But let's get to just kind of deal with this part, the signs and symptoms. Okay?
Well, yeah, you know, it is so subtle. And my cancer was stage 1. And for those of you that know, and yeah, I know.
What are the chances of finding this kind of cancer at that stage?
Slim and none. I mean, it was accidental. Ovarian cancer it's right on par with pancreatic cancer. I mean, typically it's not discovered until it's metastasized and there's tumors all over, and that's what causes discomfort, whether it's back pain or shoulder, who knows what kind of pain, trouble breathing, whatever. And so mine was accidental, quite the happy accident.
So you did have a kidney stone and they only
No.
but your pain was caused
By the tumor. So I had this large benign tumor that had engulfed, and for an ovary is about the size of a little almond. And there was cancer on the ovary. I grew this great big tumor around it to, you know, kind of choke it off myself. And it was adhered to all of my internal organs, and that's what caused problems, was the fact that it had adhered all over and was pressing on my bladder, and that's why, you know. So anyway, but there is no good test. You know, I was shocked to find out that there's no good test at all. And there's a bookmark where everyone is sitting, and it has the signs and symptoms. And to be honest, every premenopausal and menopausal woman I know has those signs and symptoms. And Albert was concerned because he had a few of them as well. So, yeah, you know, I don't know. We can talk later. But, you know, it's small enough that you can put it in your wallet, that you can put it on your refrigerator, whatever. And, you know, even if you go to the doctor and say, gosh, I'm really concerned, have a conversation, you know, but there still is no good test. And as far as statistics are concerned, in 2014, about 22,000 new cases will be diagnosed, and out of those, 65% of those women will die from the disease. So it's just something that needs to be in our conversation. I use every single pink ribbon as an opportunity to say, you know what, it's not just about our boobies. We have other lady parts that need some attention. There needs to be conversation.
As we talked, and Lisa and I spent a couple of hours just kind of really going through this, and it was a lot of fun, you know, the conversation. And as we were figuring this out, it's like, you know what?
Fun to hang out with.
She's totally fun to hang out with. But there were some phrases that kind of just came up that really struck me. And one was, things can always be worse. And so this is where I kind of see, maybe that doesn't sound too good going forward, but there's good stuff behind it, okay? So let's kind of tell a little bit of the story here. So you say things can always be worse. What do you mean by that?
Well, first of all, you know, I thought that the elbow surgery was the end of the world, you know. I mean, I can't move my right arm at all, and can't even use my fingers because that affects your elbow. So how can it get much worse? Whoa, as me, now I have a kidney stone. Oh wait, no, it's cancer. And when I had my elbow surgery, I was quite distraught over the fact that I wouldn't be able to comb, brush, nor style my hair. And, you know, thankfully my husband put my hair in a pony for me, and I plopped a hat on, and it was great. It was spring and summer, yeah. And then I went bald. So yeah, it can always be worse. I mean, you know, life is really about perspective. And this morning, I thought, really? Wow, not your best hair day. Is that the, you know, let me just give you perspective again. At least you have hair. You know, I mean, we think, you know, you get a flat tire and you think, seriously, I'm already running late. Can things get worse? Yes. Get out of the road because someone can run you down. I mean, it can always be worse. Always, always be worse. Be thankful for everything you have every single day, even if you're in a horrible situation. Because I can guarantee there's someone in this room that is in a worse situation than you. Always.
Okay. That microphone is it that
I know.
out?
Check,
Okay.
check, check.
I think our battery might be going. Oh, look, a new battery.
I'm not putting it in. Oh wait, we need testosterone.
Can you really do it?
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do it. I know, and she does, she walks like that, that's great.
She had surgery on her heart.
Well,
I talk loud too.
okay. There's another thing kind of came up that you said that I thought was really profound. If people don't know the truth, they'll make it up themselves. How did that play a part?
Well, first of all, I belong to a women's organization of singers. It's worldwide, and there's about 30,000 women. So, of course, women talk anyway. And then having a diagnosis of ovarian cancer, we all think the worst. And so I just felt like it was really important. I have these friends all over the world that are concerned about me, and if I wasn't telling people all the time what was going on, either they would assume the worst because of the diagnosis, or make up something, because that's what women do. And, or, well, just, I mean, there are some fellas that do it too. But, you know, I just felt like it was really important to let people know. And then, so, of course, Facebook was the media that I used, and then it became an outlet for me. And so often I was posting what was happening, whether it was a medical thing, just checking in, you know, at the doc or whatever, or I was, you know, complaining, or, you know, all those things, but I just felt like it was really important. And then as time went on, it kind of, the focus shifted. It was important for other people to know. It was great because, oh, check. Because if they didn't hear from me, they were, are you okay? I didn't see a post from you today. So, you know, it really was a great outlet, but it was just important because of the diagnosis, you know, and for people, again, conversation.
Yeah. Throughout this process, how did you keep a positive mindset?
Well, things can always be worse. And, you know, I'm sure there's several people in the room that are cancer survivors because it is so prevalent. But for me, my perspective about cancer changed. You know, talking about breast cancer, because that's one that touches so many of us, and knowing so many women that have been through the process, I've always thought of them when they were going through treatment as being sick. And going through it myself, and this is what we have 3 grown daughters. They're 27, 28, and 30. And so what I told them was, I am well. I don't ever want you to forget that I'm well, and I'm going to go through this process that's going to make me sick, and I'm well. And, you know, then I go and I have my chemotherapy, and I look around the room, and you know what? There are people that are not well having treatment. There are people that are dying, and it is so apparent. I gained 40 pounds going through chemotherapy. So I'm fat and healthy, yay! I outgrew my own fat pants and had to borrow some from my kids. And, you know, so, but you look around the room, and because that's our natural, when we think of someone with cancer, we think of that drawn, gaunt, very thin, and there are people like that, and those are the people that are dying. And they're there having treatment, hoping, praying, wishing for a little more time and a little more quality of life. And so I tell you, no matter how crappy I felt, and I was going to the cancer center 3 and 4 times a week because I was having special injections to keep my white count high enough to have weekly chemotherapy. So I was there a lot. And, you know, it makes it a whole lot easier to rifle through that lingerie drawer and find some more big girl panties when the people around you are dying. And I'm well.
You got a different perspective.
A totally different perspective. And let me tell you, cancer patients, oh, thank you. Cancer patients are way tougher than people think. You know, they may look fragile. Well, not me, but they may, but they're tough. And, you know, it's okay to say and ask and talk and be with them. You know, our tendency is to withdraw if we don't know what to say.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Next thing. We need to believe the good stuff that others say about us.
Right.
What do you mean? What is that?
Well, it goes back to the whole social media, Facebook thing, when people started saying, "You're such an inspiration," and I would think, whatever. I've been whining about feeling nauseous or whatever, and I learned several years ago, and again, it goes back to the singing organization, Sweet Adelines, that I have belonged to forever. It served on the regional board, and when someone that you honor, that you respect, that is intelligent, that you look up to, a mentor, any of those things, fill in the blank, they ask you to take on a task or fill a role or whatever, and you think, seriously, I don't think I can do that, or why would you think that about me? Or so I've learned, if it's someone that I look up to in whatever fashion, I honestly think that they probably have better judgment than I do, and so I just have chosen to believe that they see something in me that I'm not able to see in myself. And because of that, I've grown and I've taken on tasks and jobs and positions that I never would have if someone hadn't said, "Why don't you do that?" Really? Well, you're smarter than I am, so I guess you think I can do it. Okay. And they were right. And so I have chosen to believe that even though day by day by day, all I was doing was talking about what was happening, and trying to, I did some deleting, delete, wah, 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 delete. Okay, so then I would complain and then find something funny to say, because that's what I do. And people would say I was inspiring. And so I've chosen to believe that, even though still I feel like I was just putting one foot in front of the other. But anytime someone takes something that we say, you have conversations all day long. We're realtors, that's what we do. And you may have said something to who knows who, and it was a pearl of wisdom that will change the way they look at life. And so I've just chosen to believe that that's the case. So, yay.
Now, you mentioned this in what you just said, but there's power in it. We need to believe in the abilities that other people we look up to think we have. So you kind of said it already.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to add to that?
No.
That's not fair. You took too much out of
I
my
know,
time.
right? I should have looked back. Oh, well.
Well, then let's look at the silver lining. One of the phrases that I found really interesting that she came up with as we were talking was that she really saw some silver linings in going through this process, this experience. So, my question for you is, what's a silver lining out of, how can there possibly be a silver lining out of having cancer?
Right. Well, first of all, the fact that, the obvious, that it was accidentally found at stage 1, that's a no-brainer. But it was things like, and I actually would hashtag it on Instagram sometimes because it was sort of funny, like the day I got my handicap placard. And, I really, I wasn't too excited about that idea, but it was to the point where by the time I parked the car and got to the Vaughn's door, I was exhausted, and I really wasn't so excited about shopping then. And, well, who's excited about grocery shopping? But, so, I went ahead and I did it, and then, okay, do you know that those spots are really wide and no one dings your car? Seriously, that is a silver lining if I ever saw one, right? And we did a color run, 2 of my daughters, but of course we walked, I trudged, but and a bunch of their friends and their friends' kids. And so here I am with all, the old lady with all these youngins, and they all walked quite slowly with me. And I would have, first of all, never done it if it wasn't to celebrate the end of my treatment. And what a wonderful, fun, fabulous experience it was. I went zip-lining to celebrate my oldest daughter's 30th birthday, and it was a few days before the end of my chemo. And also, the reason I was able to do that is because someone in our office just really felt like she wanted to give me a Christmas gift, a monetary Christmas gift, to do something for myself. And you know, ziplining's not cheap, and cancer is really expensive, and we have good insurance. And so it was a memory to last a lifetime. And then I have one other cool thing to share. Hold on. So this is my chemo bag, and I thought I would burn it. Well, it's nylon, so maybe melt it at the end of treatment, but now it's really special. And I kept every card that anyone ever sent me right here, including all the envelopes, because they wrote on them and I have their DNA, and you know, and so many of my friends sent me multiple cards often. A college professor made me cards, and so I kept them in my bag all the time because it was like just having them all with me always. And then one morning I opened my front door, and I live way out in the country, out in Creston on acreage, which a realtor would call a ranch. Not even a ranchette, a ranch. And so my neighbor on the adjoining ranch leaves me these socks with Wonder Woman, right? I'm not going to stretch them out on my calves, for heaven's sake, so I just put them in my bag. And she was so cute. She had a little scrap of paper that said, "You're Wonder Woman in my eyes," or something fabulous like that. And so I just kept all this stuff with me, and if this isn't a silver lining, I just don't know what is. And so, you know, there's just so many great things. And you know, the list goes on and on. I think the handicap placard was pretty good.
Well, and one of the things, and the trainer in me cannot resist. Do you see the value of the written note card? Do you see it?
Right. And you know, I can't think of anyone that actually sent me emails.
Really?
I can't think of anyone.
Yeah.
That said, you know, thinking of you or whatever. They either, it was an instant Facebook message, so often with a photo. You know, a friend from, I've known since junior high, so over 30 years, yeah, and who I had not really spoken to since high school, actually embroidered a sweatshirt and sent it in the mail. She said, "I know it's cold." And you know, you put that on and it's like totally being embraced by the power and the positive and the prayer and the, it's just so, yeah, so it was wonderful.
Well, there were, you know, a lot of things that you mentioned that you would not have experienced. We kind of hit a little few already, but things that you wouldn't have experienced without going through this. The physical help, the spiritual help, the financial help. Can you just hit those a little bit?
Sure, you know, we've all been in a position to help out. We love to do that, and it makes us feel good because we know, you know, we know that, what is it that when, oh, I can't even think of a really cool phrase. Oh well, that when you give, you always get more back. So that's a really fabulous place to be. But to be the receiver is so hard for so many of us. And, you know, I had so many people offer to help that I felt like, well, I know how they feel. I didn't need a lot of help. Wow, if you hold it up to your mouth, it works so much better. So I thought, well, one thing I do need help with is driving. And I refer to them as my angel du jour. And I had a different driver almost every week. As a matter of fact, two of my angel du jours are here right now, Cynthia and Kate. Yay, thank you, ladies. And talk about humbling. I tell you what, at 7 o'clock in the morning, I have to be at treatment at 8 or at 8 o'clock in the morning for 9 because it was an hour away. And I'm here with I have my barf bag because thankfully I never did have that concern, but I'm getting in their fabulous new cars, and really I don't want today to be the day. Pretty much sleeping half the way home. Well, I don't know, we were probably chatting, but anyway, if you are sleeping, yeah, I mean, it is pretty humbling. So the physical help, and I did have offers of cooking, and if you see my husband, he really doesn't miss a meal, and he's very self-sufficient, extremely self-sufficient. Had offers, to do all kinds of things, and honestly, if you saw my house right now, you'd probably think, maybe you should have took advantage of some of that. Really? Christmas in April? Yeah. I think there might still be a couple things in the dining room. Anyway, but just so many things. And then, of course, the spiritual is just, it's even more humbling and overwhelming, the constant prayer, and I have one friend who she always said she was sending me positive energy and healing white light. And now, depending on your spiritual persuasion, either that's fabulous or that's like, huh? And it just sounds like a really beautiful thing to me. So yeah, bring it on. And my family's from the Mississippi River Delta, so I even asked for, throw a few chicken bones in my name, I'll take it all, So it was all just fine. But I mean, I know, I look out here in this room and I know that there were people that were supporting me spiritually on a daily basis. And there's, thank you is not even a word that, it's a stupid word. That's not a good enough word. Let's make up a better word.
We'll work on that one.
Yes, and then of course financial. Aside from the KW Cares grant, when this whole thing started and I went to pay my first office invoice, I was told that someone had paid it for me. And I, to this day, don't know, and if you're here, I hope you got the card I sent you. And I'm guessing that whoever that person is, I'd say there's probably an 80% chance that person's here. But that was pretty shocking. Very rarely am I at a loss for words. And so very shocking. And then my ALC in North County made the decision to continue to pay my monthly invoice for several months. And then at one point, at 1 month that didn't happen, and an ALC member actually wrote a check, her own personal check, to cover my office invoice. And then the ALC started to pick it up again. And so actually this month, July, will be the first month for me to pay it. And so many of you, not just from North County, but I know here, the whole group bought those golf balls for our golf ball drop. And the KW Cares grant that I got was significant. It was a 5-figure grant. But I tell you that the check that I got from the golf ball drop, even though, obviously it was much less, it was so powerful because it was from you. And, just like a friend writing a check to cover my invoice, you paid my mortgage that month. And it's just, it kind of, you see that Jack in the Box commercial where the head goes, that's what it's like, to know, to experience, not just know, because we know, but to experience the kindness and the generosity, not only of your friends, but of strangers. It's just mind-boggling.
So that leads us to something that would come up if this worked.
Gotta love technology.
There we go, all right. So that leads us to something I think you feel pretty strongly about, that one of the most significant things we can do as Keller Williams Associates is contribute to KW Cares. So tell us why. Why is
Why? Well, you know, if you look through the Red Book, you know, the mega millionaire agent real estate book of it, the Red Book of it. You know, there are captions about KW Cares and little blurbs about people that received it, but so many of us that have read the book maybe skimmed over that. And they're wonderful stories, but they're far away. It's kind of like watching the national news. You know, well, that's really a shame that there was a subway that derailed in France, but whatever. Honestly, I mean, you know, it's a shame. And what happened here? So the thing is that it is here. It is us. And I am the face of KW Cares. And it wasn't just me this last year. We had another agent in our office who was diagnosed with lung cancer, and she also received a significant grant. And if you only look at cancer, a third of the people in this room not will be touched by it, will be diagnosed with it. And so if you're not giving money to KW Cares, that is not, you're not supporting this amazing resource that could be for your child or your spouse. And, you know, because it's not just for us, it's for our families. And it's not just in New Jersey from Hurricane Sandy, and it's not just the house fire in Missouri. It's me, and it could be you. And, you know, I can't wait to be able to pay it forward. And at this point, and, you know, I did ask myself, not survivor's guilt, you know, like when you're in a car accident or whatever and you're the only one, but I was curious, why would I be one of the only few diagnosed with ovarian cancer so early? Because we don't hear much about it, and it's because they're dead, and there are so few survivors. And I believe I was chosen because I have a great big mouth. And so when Chuck asked me to speak today, I thought, I need to think about it. And then my sister said, hello, mouth. Yeah, so obviously. And so this is, at this point in my life, this is the way that I can pay it forward to KW Cares, is to encourage everyone here, if you're not already doing so, to contribute. And KW Cares is different from the Family Fund. So on your green sheet, it's different. The Family Fund is the office in Des Moines who is not getting their commissions because of some legal stuff in the community, and so it's supporting that. They're still working, they're still working for clients, but they're not getting paid. And so the company, through our donations, is paying them, which is amazing, and it's something only Keller Williams would do. But KW Cares, that goes into the national pool of money to draw on for grants like mine. And while it was a significant amount of money, it gave us only breathing room. You know, I mean, we're still sweating it all the time, but without that help, you know, we might have, I don't know, I don't even want to think what would have happened. And so we actually have on the tables, is now a good time to mention it?
That was a good time?
Okay.
Yeah.
We have on the tables, and I didn't even know about these until a week ago, that you can fill that form out, and then it's kind of like direct deposit. You don't even have to think about your KW Cares donation, that it's just automatic. And so that when you're filling out your green sheet and you go, maybe I'll give $100. What's that turn out? Oh, well, maybe I'll give 50. Oh, that's pretty cheap. Maybe I'll do 75. You can just decide $100 with every escrow, or $50, or 1%. So, you know, if it's kind of funny, I said the average escrow, well, let's see, we've got Pismo, Cambria, and San Miguel. let's just call it 350. You know, 1% of your end commission is $87. And how many of you, your average sale is 2 or 3 times that? And, you know, I thought about if my grant came from people that gave $100, and including the amount that came from our local market center, because that's the way, 10% from your local market center and 10% from the national fund. I mean, 90%, obviously, 10 plus 10, 90%. And so, but putting it all together, if you were to take $100 donation from one person, so that meant 2,000 people gave $100 to me. I mean, it is just overwhelming. And again, if you're not doing it, it could be you, your spouse, your child. And I just do it, for heaven's sakes.
You feel strongly about this?
Right? I know. And if you don't know what to do, how to disperse it, you know, our local market center has an annual contribution, and so what I would suggest would be 30% to your local market center and then 70% to the national fund, or whatever you want to do, but that's the way, when money is raised at the local level, that's what's done. So fill out those forms today, take the form home, fill it out, turn it in, whatever. I'm calling you all later.
Perfect. Love it. Well, so let's kind of bring this all full circle at this point, and I just zapped everything. There went. One thing that came up as we were wrapping up our conversation, as I was wrapping up with Lisa, was she wouldn't trade this experience of having cancer for anything, and my question was, why?
I know.
So bring this all together. Why is that? This whole thing is
Well, I know, that sounds really weird, huh? Well, first of all, I can say that because it was an early diagnosis and I am well. And so many of the things that I experienced, whether it was the handicap placard or, you know, having Kate Graham at my house at 8 in the morning early, but she doesn't really want to be dressed and out the door early. You know, on the day before Thanksgiving, because I said, who's not cooking dinner? I have to have someone that's not cooking. Kate!
Number 20.
I still do.
Not. But she did give me a pumpkin pie from Costco. That was awesome. Or, you know, Cynthia was there, I think drove me twice. And, you know, so those kind of things. I have a friend from 4th grade who, I think what I said to you was that acquaintances became lasting friends, and good friends became lifelong friends, and everything just was intensified and better, better, better. She's got to probably go drive someone to chemo right now. And so, you know, it was amazing. And then the things that were revealed about myself, the perspective that I gained, like not really worrying about my bad hair days so much today, because I have hair. Because Bill Mott, we had the same hairstyle. Yeah, and you know, just so much perspective and so much revelation. And if we're running late, I'm really sorry, but I had a good friend that I sing with. We were diagnosed with cancer within about 10 days of each other. And she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. So we were both diagnosed with what is typically a terminal disease. And we went through the process together. She used to call me her C buddy, her cancer buddy. And so we shared a lot of really things you don't want to know about. And she passed away on June 1st. And so while my journey was so different, we lived it together. And when she passed, it was so I don't even know a good word. It was so intense for me because it could have and should have been me as well, but yet here I am today. And so I know that when I say I wouldn't trade it for the world, and people out here have probably lost loved ones, and you think, whatever, but that's my truth. And I do understand because of my friend Dee Dee, who lived just right up the hill here and saw this view every day. And every day when I go, every time I drive past, I think of her. And it can be so different. And type A personality, you know, kind of don't sweat the little stuff nearly as much because I could have been her.
All right. That's it. Is there anything else you want to say?
Give the KW cares now, today, don't wait.